Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Your Morning Drive. I am the host with the most, Logan Lewis, back at you with another episode. Before we get into said episode today, I've got a few things to talk to you about, but then we'll get into our interview. Number one, I need one favor from you that's listening. One small favor. It takes 15 seconds to do. I just need you to share this episode with one friend, one business owner, one friend, your ex-girlfriend, your parent, your brother, your sister, your neighbor, just somebody in your life that needs this episode to start their day. If you want to send them a link, you can send them either an Apple Podcast link or a Spotify link. We are on both platforms. Or if you want to watch us in full, and this episode, I would think you'd want to watch in full just based on our backdrop, but we'll get to that in a second. We're on YouTube as well. So just everything is at Your Morning Drive. Love it, subscribe it, like it, share it, and leave a review if you like what we're doing here. A couple things worth noting before we start. Today, we're not at my typical studio location, but I can't not mention them. Fireworks Co-working, they are a creative co-working space that is dedicated to supporting the local creative community. And they uplift creative entrepreneurs and business owners and musicians and everything in between every day. If you are working from home and you're sick of working from home, if you're sick of dealing with your spouse, your dog, the lawn people making loud noise when you're trying to join a meeting, if any of those things are your problem or something else, you can try this place for free using code DRIVE when you check out with them, or if you go and tour their space. Tell one of the staff members, Courtney and Nicole, tell them Logan sent you, and they will take care of it from there. So shout out to Fireworks. Even though we're not there, I think about you. Our show has also got brought to us by Good Days Canned Cocktails. I felt like this color can felt right to be in this space. I did this intentionally, people. Good Days are a classic cocktail brand created in a convenient, ready-to-drink format to meet the need for a quality pre-mixed cocktail for any occasion, whether it's a pool day, a party, a birthday, a bachelorette trip, a bachelor party, a wedding, anything in between, a pool day, a lake day, beach day, whatever it is. Summer is here and good days are ahead. If you want to be one of the first to try this canned cocktail, you can visit their website, drinkgooddays.com/pages/find us to find a store near you selling our drink. They are a local brand, co-founded by two guys. One of them lives in Athens. One of them lives right here down the street in Ackworth. So it is a local brand, support local business, Good Days. These have been my drink of the summer. No BS. I mean, I straight love them. I mean, when they wanted to collaborate with me, I was absolutely honored because I already was a fan. So in order to buy it, of course, though, you have to be 21 years or older. Of course, no underage drinking. Last thing I'll bring up before we get into the interview is Strongside Gym. They've been voted the number one gym in Cherokee County for 4 consecutive years. If you're tired, like me, of feeling sick and tired, brain fart, are are you tired of feeling sick and tired? If so, join Strongside. Their group workout classes, led by certified trainers, create a fun and safe workout environment that has helped thousands lose thousands. Strongside puts the community at the center of what they do. Everyone is welcome and everyone is treated equally. If you're on the fence about your current gym, if you have taken a step away from working out like a lot of us have, get back into it by going to their website and snagging a free 7-day pass, which is www.the-strongside.com. You can start your fitness journey for free today. Strongside, we make people better. My guest today is a 29-year-old UGA bio graduate with pre-med background, now a bakery owner. She has been decorating cakes since childhood and has continually honed in her skills. Encouraged to seek stability through traditional employment, she was inspired by Instagram and COVID-19 to grow her business. She believes that God has guided her from seeking earthly stability to pursuing a divine purpose. Please welcome my new friend, Joe Nunez.
Hey, it's so great to be on today. I'm excited for it.
Thank you for being here so much. I've been so excited to do this, like so hype.
I'm excited. We're looking forward to doing it. Me and my parents have been excited and talking about it. So we can't wait to be here and share what we do with more people.
Yes, to give the people some background, how did this, I mean, how did I get here? So I posted in a Facebook group, a few Facebook groups, and now my Facebook is flooded, so I'll get to you people, I promise. But I posted in the Bartow Connect, Bartow County News and Talk, I think is what it's called, Facebook group. And I said, hey, I do a podcast. I love to talk to people. Who wants to be on, essentially? And a bunch of people said me, but then like 5, 6, 7, 8 people started tagging her, tagging you, and said she'd be great. People were commenting on their comments saying like, oh, she'd be such a good choice. So here we are.
Yes, we're going to do it today. My community has been absolutely amazing. I couldn't ask for better, more supportive, and just people who have my back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm truly in awe of how much I'm loved by my community and so very grateful for it.
Yeah, I mean, community is everything. I mean, even just before we started recording, somebody was trying to come in here because they thought it was Thursday.
Yeah.
And just seeing you interact with her and the little girl that was with her too, it was so cute. It was like, oh man, these people love you.
I'm blessed beyond measure. Kiddos are absolutely my favorite people ever. They're just so cute, and their little personalities are so fun, and they're children, so everything is big and bold and glamorous to them, and it's not, oh, old news, I've seen that, or, I've seen it on social media. It's literally like them coming into this and seeing Cinderella's princess, except very, very inexpensive in comparison and in their backyard.
Yeah, right? And I mean, feeling like a princess when walking in here isn't too far from the reality. I mean, I saw pictures online when I was doing a little bit of research on you. And when I got here with Catherine a few weeks ago, I was like, oh my God, like this is a lot. I mean, you guys can't see it, but like you can see the background and what's behind us. Just picture this just wrapped around the entirety of the building and the room. I mean, it's beautiful. And you did it all yourself, which is crazy.
Yes, all of the decor. I had reached out to somebody to help me with decor, and he just seemed very overwhelmed with what I was asking and not really sure that he could capture what I wanted. And so I was like, okay, well, we just took it one day at a time, one step at a time. It took me 6 months to finish the build out. We paid for electrical and plumbing, and then everything else we did.
That's super impressive. You literally did the meme of Thanos. If you know where I'm going with this, Thanos from the, I'm about to sound like such a nerd. There's this meme of this villain from the Marvel movies, and he puts on the glove and he just says, fine, I'm going to do it myself. Yeah. And that was literally you in that moment. He was like, man, I don't know, Joe. I don't know if I can do it. And you said, all right, that's fine. I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
Which just, I think, shows how dedicated you are to this and how serious you were about this. Because, and you can raise this, by the way, if you need to. You can unscrew it and you can raise it.
Sweet.
Not editing this out because we're authentic people.
Learning all the new things.
Yes. So I realized as you were talking, I was like, oh no, it's too low. But
is that better?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. But yeah, so she does this all herself, which is just incredible. 6 months. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't take you longer, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it was long nights. People would come and they'd be sitting at 6s at 2 and 3 a.m. They're like, we saw you working over there all summer. And we're like, when is it opening? When is it opening? And we finally made it. I figured, oh, we're going to be open in a couple months. No big deal. And it was 6 months later. My landlord was like, I'm just going to quit asking you when you're going to open.
And I think a lot of people underestimate, and maybe you can speak to this a little bit, the amount of work that not only goes into starting a business and getting all this stuff laid out and figured out, but opening a brick and mortar store location, the amount of codes and inspections and trials and tribulations you've got to go through to get to this is intense.
Yes, we definitely made sure that we had everything legally in line before we opened, because there are so many stipulations, especially to having a coffee shop. And I'm operating out of the Department of Ag for half of it, and I'm operating out of the Department of Health for the other half. So I have multiple licenses to be able to do this. But in order for me to grow without putting in a $20,000 grease trap, that is just what made sense for us. And then luckily, my parents built onto their house whenever I was a kid, and the contractors honestly were just terrible. And so we did most of the work ourselves. So I am not a stranger to using a drill and a saw and doing all the things. So we DIY'd this whole thing, and I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to learn to do all of it whenever I was a kid, because otherwise I would have struggled to get all of this paid for.
When you went to, sitting down at the drawing board, whether it was with your parents or, your fiance or whoever you're
Yeah.
with at the time, and it came to mapping this out, I mean, was this the vision from the get-go, or did this happen after a couple of iterations of like, oh yeah, we'll throw pink over there, we'll throw pink, on the ceiling, we'll have some overhanging stuff, we'll have pink furniture, but we won't do the whole inside of the building pink. I mean, was this the goal from the start?
Pretty much, it was the goal from the start. Like, I knew I wanted a floral arch, I knew I wanted a pink awning, I knew I wanted a white brick wall, and then the arch that you see behind us, like, all of that, I knew that I wanted with the big floral wall. But in doing everything, my number one goal was to make it something that people hadn't seen before, but also something that is very kid-friendly. So we went with the faux leather that's easily washable. We put the flowers above where kids could reach so they wouldn't pick them down. So a lot of the decisions we made were with kids in mind, because that's where my heart's at. And so, like, I know that there are places in Nashville or in Atlanta or Chattanooga that have places that are similar to this, but they're all geared towards adults, which is fine. But I wanted something that kids could truly enjoy.
Wow, I mean, even I, a 28-year-old man, when walking in here for the first time, was like, "Oh my god, I'm a child again." Like, just the obscene, I mean, obscene in the best way, pink and white combination. I mean, I literally can't do this place justice, guys. I mean, it's truly great. And then at one point, someone mentioned like, "Oh, that chandelier's nice," and I look up and I'm like, "This beautiful chandelier right above where the camera's sitting,
Yeah.
and it's just gorgeous." I mean, you got to be so proud of yourself every time. Or is it just work at this point? I mean, do you walk in and just completely ignore the fact that this is a freaking princess wonderland?
I loved it, and I mean, of course, like, the more you see something, the more the glamour of it wears off a little
Sure.
bit, but every time I see a new little girl walk in who's never seen the place before, it just, like, gives me back those same feels that I felt decorating the place. The ceiling was by far the hardest to decorate. It felt like such a school. So I took several trips to Hobby Lobby. Luckily, it was during Christmas time so that I
Hmm.
could decorate them and it not feel like the big, I guess, LED lights that the school has.
Hmm.
So it definitely all came together, but it was not all at one time. It was piece by piece. And then I'm like, okay, what can we do to make this better or that better? So,
Yeah.
but I just love seeing the new faces come in and then in awe. And of course, a grown man's compliment, I think probably is the best, because they're the ones who are most likely to hate this place.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I've always, maybe I'm impartial. I've always loved the color pink.
Yeah.
I'm no stranger to the color pink. But yeah, I mean, I can picture some people walking in here and just being like, oh,
Yeah.
like just like the most demasculating place of all time. But I love it. I think it's freaking fantastic. Like
Well,
I can't
thank
stop
you.
looking around. Like it's great.
No,
In the bathroom with the neon. Oh, it's just, if I was an interior designer, this place would be like my freaking thing,
I love it. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the
For sure.
compliments.
For sure. So let's rewind. Let's go
Okay.
back. Let's go back to Little Joe. Um, was this? I mean, you said, like I said in the bio when you filled it out for me, that you've been using doing icing since you've been able to hold the whatever
Icing
it's called,
bag.
the
Yeah.
icing bag. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so was this? I mean, you went to college for biology. So I mean, how?
Yeah. So whenever I was a kid, there was a store under the bridge in Cartersville that I always loved going to. It was called Meg Pie, and they had like a boutique in the front and then a little bakery in the back. And I just absolutely loved going there with my mom and making memories and picking out cute little items that we could enjoy. So, I mean, obviously that place is long gone now. But I always loved that and just loved the experience and loved getting to go there with my mom. And so I knew that I always wanted something like that, but for a long time I never felt like it was accessible or feasible. Doing a bakery, especially in our economy, is no easy feat. But I knew, like, there was a lot of things that came up to it. So I would sell cakes in middle school and I would sell cakes in high school for extra gas money, and then in college. And then at some point, one of my customers was like, "Hey, can you make these cookies?" And I said, "I'll try." They were rough, y'all. They were not pretty at all, but it was still the same technique. It was still holding the icing bag and still a lot to do with decorating cakes, just with a different medium. And so eventually I learned how to do cookies. And I think I was one of the very first people in Cartersville to do those type of cookies, like that decorative. And so, y'all, I have over 2,000 cookie cutters. I mean, massive amount of cookie cutters. I love, love, love doing the cookies. They're just such a small treat that can come to life and is enjoyable. So that is really what propelled my business. So I got my biology degree in college, and I was working in the ER. I was working as a scribe and a tech, and I loved medicine, like just trying to figure out the different etiologies and how to help people get and feel better. And it's just crazy. The Lord has created our bodies so intricately that it's like, how can you look at that and not know that the Lord's hand was in it? But so I love it. But I tried to get a job. I knew I wasn't cut out for medical school. So I decided that I was not going to try and take the MCAT again, and I was going to do something else in the medical field. So I tried to do medical equipment sales, and I got a job with a company that just had poor customer service. It was not the way to go. I tried to get a job as a pharma rep, and I kept coming up second in line to people who had 10 years of experience. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is clearly just not meant for me. So I waited tables because I hated my job so much. The customer service was so awful. And I was just like, I'm going to do something to make money. And I loved it. I waited tables at Las Palmas and Cartersville.
I was just going to say, where'd you serve?
Yep.
Las Palmas.
The worst part about that job was wearing a tie. I mean, no girl should ever have to be forced to wear a tie. But so I did that. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, Lord, like I know that we came to serve, but I feel like I'm cut out for something more, like something else.
You're
other
not
than
just
this.
serving queso dip.
Yeah. Which I love. I love serving. I love my community, and I loved it. But I just knew that I had something more in me than that being my career life. So I went into real estate and dabbled in that a little bit because there again, like it's a service career. You're helping people with some of the biggest.
Very community based.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I loved like the aspect of it, but I didn't love all the computer work and all of the paperwork. And so that was actually right. I guess I was working there for like 6 months or so before COVID hit, and we were sent home. And then I made a bunch of cookie kits because kids were bored at their house. Now, I had done cookie kits years before, and it didn't really pick up. But all of a sudden, with everybody stuck in their homes, they needed crafts. They needed things to do to keep their kids busy. And so it absolutely took off.
So sorry to cut you off. So you made these cookie kits, and what you would sell them like Etsy or something like that?
So I sold them to people in town, and they would just do porch pickup. Yeah, they would come, they would get their cookie kits, take them to their, and sometimes I would deliver for people who had like grandkids that were out of town or something like that. But I was able to save up enough money for 6 months worth of bills. Now, granted, I don't know how old I was, 5-ish, living with my parents. So my bills weren't that extensive, but it was enough to say it's now or never. I'm single at the time, and I had enough to pay my bills for 6 months. So I'm like, we're going to give this a try. So I was working up until like 2 and 3 a.m. at night, going to work at 8, and then going home on my lunch break to do cookies, and then coming back home to work and it was just a cyclical, just a level of exhaustion. And so then I finally turned in my 2 weeks notice, and we did the thing. So we grew for about a year, and then we got Sunset Slush, Italian Ice, which was really good and scalable, and it was a summer thing, which is slow in the bakery world.
Yeah.
Then I went to Europe for 2 months, which was a God thing. Learned how to do French pastries, and then came home for a month, got the space, and we're almost a year out, and it's been incredible with the shop.
I have so many questions just based on what you just told me. Okay, so you're making these cookies at home, and what? So I mean, when you're so you're going home, what are you doing until 2 or 3 in the morning? Are you literally making cookies?
Decorating cookies, doing cakes, responding to messages, marketing, all the things.
How many? And you're still with your parents at this time?
Yes.
How many cookies were in their fridges and freezers?
Oh my gosh. So I think that the biggest thing that took up the most space was like ingredients.
Yeah.
Because normally I would just make enough for the week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd make the cakes, I'd put them in the freezer to like set, and then I would ice them and then put them in the fridge. So we rotated things out. We have a couple of refrigerators for sure. But I have consumed a lot of their house for the business. They've been awesome.
That's incredible, dude. I love, just as you're talking, this is why I do this kind of stuff. I love this stuff. Just thinking about the fact that you were working a full-time job, and then you would stay up until 2, 3 in the morning, literally making cookies, decorating cookies. And then, so you were just selling them to everybody just around?
Social media, word of mouth marketing is how, I haven't ever paid for advertisements. Maybe a couple times, less than $200, I'd say. But it's been just amazing people, amazing community who have shared what I do.
So then when you do social media, is it just all you? Do you have
Yes.
nobody's running it for you or anything? You're just
No.
doing it all yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I could do better at
I
that.
mean, you do pretty good. I mean, as a dude who also does social media for some folks, you do pretty great.
Well, thank you. I
I
appreciate it.
mean, everything is just pink. I mean,
Yeah.
everything is consistent, which in my opinion is key. Like
Right.
consistency, especially with that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
is very very important.
It definitely has gotten better over the years. Early on, it was just a hot mess. I mean, the Instagram was dark and pictures weren't consistent, but now I have like a photography space. And so I have the same lighting, the same backdrop. And so it looks very
Do
consistent.
you do that here?
No, so I do that at the house under the food cottage license.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So, okay, so when you go to so tell me about Europe. I mean, so why did you decide to do that? Did you felt called to go? I mean, like was it just like a I mean, and you went over COVID too?
So that was, no, I went a year ago
Oh,
ish.
okay.
Like maybe we had been in business working from the house under the license for about, I guess, 1 to 2 years. And then the opportunity came up. So my aunt, her husband, who I never met in Panama,
Okay.
so the country of Panama where my dad is from, her husband helped a lady in a very, very small town become an accountant. And so he did this really awesome favor for her to help her to get her career set. And one of her daughters married a French pastry chef years later.
Okay.
They have two bakeries in France now. And so my aunt was like, listen, like I've contacted them. Like you really should reach out. Even if you can't go, you should talk to them. Just see what, see what you can learn. And just, I was slammed, so busy. There's never been a slow time since we started the bakery. And so my cousin was like, you really need to go, Joe. Like the Lord is not going to give you a shop until you go, until you experience this, because I've never had any formal training. And I was like, okay. So I'm, I guess, 27 at the time, 28. And I ended up booking a 2-month long trip to Europe with nobody going. I didn't know any French at all.
And you went solo by yourself.
I went solo. So I
Wow.
booked my Airbnb and my flights, and then the rest, everything else I kind of did while I was there. And it was an amazing experience. I definitely recommend taking a couple semesters of French now because I was very adamant that I would never go to France. Growing up, that was just never my life.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd see other people doing that, but it was truly never my life. So I 100% attribute this to just being a God moment that he literally choreographed this before I was born.
So you mentioned, well, first of all, that's fantastic. I always respect so much when either people take solo vacations or when they move to a new city by themselves. I always just find that super just admirable
Yeah.
because I moved a lot growing up, but I was moving with my family.
Mhm.
So I mean, I always had people,
Yes.
but I mean, having to get up and just you just said, okay, I'm going to go to a foreign country where I don't speak the language by myself, not with
Yeah.
a buddy that knows, not with a translator. You went solo.
Yeah, it was definitely hard, and I feel like I have more respect now for people who did these kinds of things
Yeah.
before technology came out because your girl was over there with no Wi-Fi. Um, one time I got lost in Paris, and I just pulled up next to a guy who was on one of the scooters in the city, and I was like, "Can you take me to the Eiffel Tower? I know how to get there to my apartment from there." And he was like, "Yeah, sure, just follow me," because my phone died. I had no internet anyways, and I was completely lost. I had no idea where I was. So the Lord's definitely been good. I had some great people who helped me out while I was there for sure. And the family that I didn't stay with them, I stayed in an Airbnb, but they always like welcomed me home for like their family dinners, and they were really truly incredible people.
Yeah, that's very nice. Did you ever have any like crazy experiences overseas? Like any weird occurrences or any like tales that you tell?
I don't think I experienced anything crazy. I think I was scared twice while I was there cuz I mean whenever you're there you have to keep your head on a swivel. I mean,
Really?
it is definitely like being a young woman in
Yeah.
another country solo is just you
That's what I
really
was
need,
getting at.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just have no idea what to expect. Um
It's like a
and
Liam Neeson movie ready to happen.
yeah, you definitely have to be careful. And so I was like, I wouldn't go out after certain hours, and I had a decent sense of where I was. But
Sure.
when I was on the train, and so I went to Spain and London while I was there to visit a couple bakeries. And while I was in Spain, there was a guy that kept looking at me, and I was like, it was just very awkward.
Mhm.
I didn't know what to do, so I was like, Okay. The next time the doors open, like, I counted them, I counted how many seconds it took to close, and then at the
Oh,
next
wow.
stop, I was like, "Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4," and then I got up, like, right because they closed after 7 seconds, so I got up and left so that he couldn't follow me out, just so that I was safe. Like, I had no idea what to
Right.
expect, but I just wanted to be safe.
Wow. Yeah, I can't even imagine. I mean, fortunately, I don't ever have to worry about things like that,
Yeah.
but, um, God, I mean, that just I mean, being in that that would have scared me to the point of, like, "I'm coming home. Like, this is over." Like, it could have been the 2nd day there, and I would be like, "I'm
Um,
gone.
I
I'm
did
done."
feel more comfortable because I was in Spain. I can speak Spanish and get around. Like, I could at least speak and people would understand what I was saying. But I did feel like France and Paris was actually really safe compared to what people,
Really?
like, generally talk about. Yeah.
You can speak fluent Spanish?
I can speak enough to get by. I mean, my grammar's not great. My
Say
dad
something
is
to our Hispanic, friends.
bienvenidos, goodies and grace.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, you could and then how was London?
London was great. It was nice that I could understand people there.
Yes.
There was a cute little bakery that I went to while I was there that had, I mean, I think it's probably one of the world's most beautiful bakeries, other than one other one that I went to. But it was just really cool to see. I mean, they just go all out. Like, that is part of almost their culture. Like, even McDonald's in Paris had a floral arch around the door. And I'm like, if McDonald's can have a floral arch, your girl's going to have a floral arch.
Yeah.
So we made it happen.
So where did the name Goodies and Grace I mean, obviously you're serving goodies,
Yeah.
and then Grace, does that have a tie-in with, like, your relationship with God and everything?
Yes, 100%. A lot of people think that I am grace, but it definitely just goes back to the grace that God has shown us because we deserve nothing and he just gives abundantly more than what our parents could give us. So, it's really cool to experience his grace. And if I wasn't spiritually bound to this shop, like, I was financially and spiritually bound to opening up this shop because there were times that things did not go very well.
Yeah.
I have melted over $2,000 worth of Italian ice. I shattered my display case with a nail gun because I, like, was literally a millimeter, like,
Off.
too close to it. And so I completely shattered it that day. I will never forget. I was like, "All right, y'all, I'm going home. I'm going to bed. I need a nap." So 1 month in particular was really bad, but when you're spiritually and financially bound to something, like, it you just have a reason to make it happen.
Yeah. I said in my intro that, you think God has guided you from seeking earthly stability to pursuing this divine purpose. What is that divine purpose?
So I am very convicted of knowing that I can only take one thing to heaven with me, and that is the people around me. And I feel like our culture is so much about acquiring earthly treasures that you
Mhm.
literally can't take with you. So in my shop, I have Bible verses, and I want people to be able to see, well, you are fearfully and wonderfully made is a scripture. And then grace upon grace in the bathroom is, it just all goes back to the Bible. And so I also have something else that I'm wanting to do that I haven't put up yet, but just allowing people to read, even if it's subconsciously, read the Bible whenever they read the signs in my shop. And so I want people to come in here to feel the love of the Lord and to subliminally, if they don't recognize it, read the scripture of God.
Hmm. Very fun.
Yeah.
Very fun. Um, you wanna hear something else that I think is really fun?
Yes. Let's hear
It's
it.
a company called StageDive. You wanna hear about them?
StageDive. Let's hear it.
Alright, so StageDive is a music streaming service. What do you listen to music on?
Apple Music.
Okay,
My brother
cool.
pays for it. I get the benefits.
Sweet,
That's
sweet.
why.
You don't have to justify yourself to me because I am also an Apple Music person.
Okay.
So Apple Music people need to unite out here in this world. But there's another service out there that I think does a lot of good for artists, and it's called StageDive. So what
Mhm.
StageDive does is they put money back directly into the pockets of the artists rather than most of the money going to Spotify. So
Yeah.
when you stream, what's your favorite artist right now?
Oh, Brandon Lake.
Okay.
He's up there.
So when you stream him on Spotify, he gets like a tenth of a penny. That's
Oh,
how
wow.
little money they make. Even like Taylor Swift, Drake, all of them, they get like a tenth of a penny for each stream, which is so nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, Drake, they're fine. They'll be all
Mhm.
right. But to smaller artists and smaller local artists, they struggle because they might
Right.
make $5 a year on
Wow.
Spotify or Apple Music. So what StageDive does is they charge a flat fee for someone to subscribe to their service, and it's $3.99. A dollar of that subscription goes to StageDive because, of course, they're a business. They have to make
Right.
money somehow. They don't play ads over their content. And what happens is, let's just say, for example, you listen to 80% Drake and 20% Taylor Swift. So your $2.99 gets divided up between those two artists. If those are the only two artists you listen to for a month. So if you listen to 80% one, 20% the other, your subscription literally gets divided into those respective numbers
Yeah.
and sent to those artists directly. So
Wow.
rather than making $5 a year on Spotify, maybe Brandon will make $5 a month,
Yeah.
which is a lot better than what Spotify can provide
Yeah.
and Apple. So if you're interested in trying something like
Yeah.
that, you can do that. You can go to stagedive.com and you can use code YMD25 to save 25% on that first month subscription. So that means you can literally try this service for like $2. That's
That's
less
awesome.
than like half of a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So instead of buying that mocha white cream frappuccino, support local artists on StageDive. I'm on StageDive. Your Morning Drive is on StageDive. So, yeah, try them out. They're a great service. They're also a local company that is just trying to do right by our local and indie artists. So check them out.
I love it. I'll definitely have to go download that app tonight.
You should.
Yes.
Another point that you brought up in your list of things that you like to talk about is the funding for a storefront. Tell me about that process.
Yeah. So I just did 0% credit cards to
0%.
fund
Okay.
0% credit cards to fund the whole thing. So I have about 6 credit cards that I've paid off or am in the process of paying off. But I mean, it's been really cool because small business loans are really hard to get. And granted, I was able to make enough to pay gradually for the things that I needed to pay cash for. But things that I ordered, like the furniture and just stuff from Home Depot, like they give offers all the time, like 24 months, 0% interest if you spend a certain amount. So going in there with a plan and knowing what you're going to buy and buying it in bulk is definitely the way to go in regards to doing 0%. Because I mean, it's better than a small business loan. You literally can't get better than funding something.
When you said 0% credit cards, for a split second, I thought you meant you bought everything in cash. I was like, girl,
Oh, no.
COVID for you was great. No, but
I bought a lot of stuff in cash, but then a lot of it did go to credit cards for the build out and things.
I mean, where did you even find that Eiffel Tower? I mean, so did you get that because of the fact that you went to
Yes.
France? Okay, cool. Because when I first walked in here, I was like, what the hell is there an Eiffel Tower in here for?
Yeah. So we did the Eiffel Tower because I went to Europe to learn how to do the croissants. And so we display our French croissants on the tower just to make it fun. And then, of course, little kids can come in and take a picture with the pink Eiffel Tower. But
very cute.
Shout out to Kelly Adams. She texted me. She's like, I'm at Home Goods. You absolutely have to have this. And I was like, Kelly, I hate you, but I love you. So I went to Home Goods and I bought the Eiffel Tower. She's like, it's pink.
You have
it's
to assemble
pink.
it, right?
It's just like 4 pieces.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super easy to assemble. It was already pink, and Kelly was like, you just have to have this. And I said, okay, I'm going to get it, Kelly.
Shout out to Kelly for this beautiful piece of...
I love you guys that send me all the cute pink things, but I also hate y'all because it's just a lot of money.
Does everybody just automatically tag you in anything pink on like Instagram? They're like, oh my God, you should get this. And you're like, oh, I get it. I'm a pink person. I've got pink everywhere.
Yeah, no, it has definitely become a brand and a signature with me, which I love it. Because even like the CrossFit coach, Katie, at the gym was like, hey, Noble came out with some really great pink sneakers. And I was like, I love you, but dang it.
Sometimes those 0% credit cards are going up a little bit.
No, but they are super cute. And I needed a pair of new shoes anyways. So shout out to Katie for sending me the link.
Another thing I was curious about is you mentioned before we did this is that there's a purpose to all of this. What is that purpose?
It's just to point people to Jesus. I mean, truly, like I want people to see Jesus first and foremost. But in order to do that, I feel like they need to be able to make memories with their friends, and they need to be able to make memories with their parents, and be able to just sit down at a table that's unplugged and talk to them. I think that it is so important for parents and for friends to just sit down and have face-to-face conversations, not texting, not Instagram. And so whenever you sit down and you see that, I think that in the hard times, whenever you can find that person that you have those conversations with and lean on them, then you start to see how good God is, like that they place these people purposefully in your life to be able to be there through, because you're going to have hard times. I mean, it is 100% guaranteed you will have some sort of place and time that you're just going to need people to lean on. And so I wanted just a beautiful place that people could come and create community. I think it's one of the most beautiful gifts that the Lord's given us, and He did create us for community. We're not supposed to be these driven people who focus on a career and not on family and friends. So, and it's hard to focus on that whenever everything around you tells you to focus on the opposite. So I love the fact that people can just come sit and enjoy and create community. I was actually looking at, before I went to Europe, a commercial kitchen right across the street, actually, but they didn't have any store frontage. And so I knew in my heart, like, yeah, the commercial kitchen is going to make me a lot of money. Like, I'm going to be able to produce more. I'm going to be able to hire more people. Like, it's just going to be production and money making. And I was like, this is not what I want. Like, I love baking. Like, well, I hate baking. I love decorating. But I love watching people enjoy the things that we make here.
Yeah, that's amazing. Truly amazing. I love this place. Like,
Thank
it
you.
just feels like so homey, right?
Yeah.
And that's the purpose.
Mhm.
Speaking of the whole, like, everyone's telling you to focus on like work, 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 money, 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 money. Did you notice that when you went overseas? Because I know that cultures overseas are not like that. Like,
Mm-mm.
America is like the only country that's
Yeah.
like, you got to work, you got to work, you got to work, you got to work.
Yeah, the family in Europe who had the bakeries, they had a home cooked meal every single night, and everybody sat around the table, and they had a wine, and they had appetizers, and they had a full meal, and they genuinely enjoyed the company. I mean, there was a quitting time, and then they knew it. And so I know that there is always going to be a season of growth, like a season of grinding, but then there should also be a season of resting and enjoyment. And so right now I'm currently in that grind season.
Yeah.
I am faithful that I'm on the tail end of it. After the credit cards get paid off in December and we get to celebrate some really cool things in December, then I'll be able to sit back and just take it all in, and get some rest too.
Yeah.
So it'll be really cool to experience that and be on the other side of the grind and the American lifestyle.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's really cool. Um, what's the end all be all here? I mean, so you've got the Italian ice thing, which I'm curious about too. I mean, so was that just a pivot you made in the summer, like you said, because baked goods in the summer just don't sell as well? Is that right?
So a lot of what I do is very niche.
Okay.
So I have to have my hands creating like all the custom cakes. Like there's a lot of things that people can help with, as far as baking, cleaning, all the things in that regard. But actually decorating, that's the part that I love, and it takes a lot of time to teach that. And so I knew that with Sunset Slush, it was something that we all enjoyed as a family. We literally have 12 koozies from one in Myrtle Beach. And we brought them all home. And I think 2 or 3 years after doing that, I was like, I wonder if they have a business or a franchise and how much it would be. And because we all loved it and it's pretty easy. Um, then I called that summer, literally 2 days before we went to vacation again. And they were like, oh yeah, the guys that own it are fantastic. Like we went to high school with them, and it's a bigger company than what I thought it was.
Really?
Yeah, there's a ton up the East Coast. There's one in St. Simons, Nunez here in Georgia. There's a couple mobile carts, and it's just scalable. We loved the people that we worked for, the way they operated their business. We have a lot of autonomy. You don't have to have a certain structure. There's very few things that they require, and it was a pretty low buy-in cost. So I brought it home, and it was just super awesome to be out of the kitchen for a little bit in the sunshine and still getting to do what I love, serving people sweet treats and getting to enjoy that.
So, in other words, the Italian ice isn't you.
No,
It is another, and they didn't care that you were going to be selling it in a storefront with a name on it that isn't theirs.
correct. So it's advertised as Sunset Slush.
Okay.
We have the cups, and they are perfectly fine having it under Goodies and Grace.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's been a blessing. We have absolutely loved it.
Have you noticed, I mean, especially in the summertime, I'm sure when it gets a little cooler outside, that'll decline a little bit and that'll pick up. Do you
Right.
notice that people will come in? I mean, well, before I ask that, how long have you had the Italian ice?
I think that we're on 2 summers now.
Okay.
Life just kind of all
So you've had a couple
like
years
runs
with it.
together. But yes, I think that this is okay. I lied. The 3rd summer. This is the 3rd summer that we've been doing this.
Okay. So I'm thinking what I was getting at is, have you ever been surprised at maybe you've done more with the Italian ice than the baked goods at some points?
For sure. Yeah, just because it's an item whenever people are outside, it's hot. I mean, they want something to cool off, and so it's more of a necessity than a luxury at that point. And so whenever you're at the right place at the right time, sunset slush is a great, and it's not something that only kids like.
Yeah, everyone
Adults
likes
like it.
Italian ice.
Yeah, it's something that everybody enjoys, and so it's just been a great business.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome.
But, I mean, I can guarantee you cookies and at Christmas time, you can't beat it either. So, there's a time and place for everything.
What is your absolute favorite thing that you make here? Like, what is, like, out of everything that is sold in this building, what do you look at every time it's made and you're like, they have good taste?
I would definitely say the decorative cookies are by far my favorite just because it's unique. Nobody around here has them at a store that you can buy. It is a very niched thing, and I just truly love bringing a cookie to life. It's just so fun.
I love that. So now I'm going to ask you this based on just pure interest and not even for interview purposes. So when people want them in bulk for like an event or
Mhm.
stuff, what do they just send you a logo and you can put it on there? Like, how do you do it? Do you just
Y
trace it? Like, what do you do?
So for logos that are super detailed, I have a Pico projector that I use to make sure that I've got straight lines. It's super great. It's literally like the size of your phone. It's phenomenal. And so I will use that, and then I pretty much freehand everything else, unless it's a
Wow.
specific character, like any little animals or things like that. I'll freehand. Um, Used to, I would sketch it out like with a edible marker, but now just with time and experience, you just get better at it.
Would you be able to put that logo on a cookie?
Absolutely. And the great thing is there are so many people who use 3D printers to make cookie cutters, so you can literally make any cookie cutter you want.
Yeah, but that takes away business from you.
I mean, the cookie cutter just cuts
That's
the
true.
shape.
That's true.
I'm the
But
one
the
who decorated it.
decorative,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. So you can get any generic cookie cutters, but the decoration's what really brings it to life.
Do you ever have people that say, "Hey, I've got my own cookie cutter, but I am just not good at decorating. Can you decorate them?" Have you had that?
One lady had bought an Animoji, I think is what, or a Memoji from like the emoji that you make on
Oh, yeah,
Apple,
yeah.
like or on your text.
Yeah, the ones that, like,
And
sync with your face or whatever.
yeah, and so she had bought one of those, and she's like, "I have this cookie cutter, but I want it decorated. Can you, like, decorate it?" And I said, "Sure, we'll give it a try."
Hmm.
So it's cool to do that. I mean, they're fun little characters, and I'm way better at doing things that are more cartoonish than realistic.
Really?
Proportions and let's see, realism, I guess is how you would describe that, is not my area of expertise. Yeah, I know my limits.
And that's good. As a business owner, you gotta know what you can and can't do.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the closest you've ever gotten to quitting?
The bakery,
Or just yeah, just all of it? Has there ever been a point
um
where you're like, "You know what? What am I doing?"
no. For the bakery, I've never, like, somebody asked, I went to the Bartow Business Women's meeting at the chamber the other day, and somebody was like, "Raise your hand if you're exactly where you wanna be." And I was like, and she said, "All right, well, you can go home." I mean, she was kidding, obviously, but I'm just content with what I have and what the Lord's given, and just being able to steward it well is what's important to me. Yeah, like, I would like to have a commercial kitchen, but ultimately, like, this is everything I've prayed for.
Could you ever see yourself going into any other kind of food business, or is, like, treats just, like, that is your bread and butter?
This is my bread and butter. Yep, I like
Sweet.
to make cookies and cakes beautiful. It's
I
just
love
yeah.
so much, and are we the same age? Are you 28?
I'm 29.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're roughly the same age,
Yeah.
and I just find it super admirable, and I'm very jealous of the fact that you know what you got and you're cool with it. And you know what you want and you're cool with that too.
Yeah.
And like you're like, "Nah, I don't need to do that over there." Or like, "Nah, I don't need to try that," or "I don't need to do that." Like I love so much because I feel like people ask me all the time, like, "Oh, well, you could do this or you could do that." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down to try it all." But
Trust me, I did. I tried it all. And this has been the one consistent thing ever since I was a kid. And so I have my biology degree. Both my parents are teachers. Pretty much everybody knows them in town. They are teachers, and so they are very dead set on getting an education, which is not a bad thing. I think that in their generation, it definitely wasn't a bad thing because college was more economical to
Mhm.
actually go to and to receive a degree. But nowadays, unless you are going for something very specific like law school or med school, where you absolutely have to have those certain degrees to get into what you want, I would say wait. So I have a biology degree that I don't use, and granted, I love medicine. And I think that there's a part, your brain makes new connections every time it learns something. So I don't think that it was a complete waste. It was definitely expensive. Luckily, I had scholarships and things, but so I've tried everything. Like I did what my parents really encouraged me to do. They wanted me to have something to fall back on just in case, which isn't a bad thing. It's always great to have a backup plan, but this just kept on coming around. This is the one thing that has never left my life. Like I've tried and quit other things, but I mean, even when I was a kid, like I did ballet and I did a bunch of other sports and gymnastics and things. And my mom was like, well, whenever she got up at 6 a.m. every Saturday to go to a soccer game without complaining, then we knew we were here. And so that's pretty much how it's been with the shop. I will stay up till 3 a.m. I will get up at 6 a.m. Like it just, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
So
That's really, I'm sure that's also really, I mean, freeing also, because to
yeah.
my point, like sometimes I still don't know what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
there's millions of people out there that don't know what they're doing and they're just figuring it out every day. And here you are, not even 30, and you're just like, this is my stuff. This is like what I'm doing.
Well, I mean, honestly, the Lord has just been so good and consistently bringing me back to what it is that He wanted. I mean, the closed doors are just as you should be just as thankful for the closed doors as you are for the opened ones, because I mean, I'm telling you, like, I have no idea how miserable I would be in these other jobs, or, what I would be roped into or what I would be doing. Like being exactly where I am, I know is where the Lord wants me. It's been not easy, but I haven't had to fight tooth and nail to get to where I'm at. Like I haven't had to be somebody I'm not, or to try harder than I should to get to where I'm at, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
for sure.
I mean, I have a great work ethic, so I don't know if that necessarily applies to everybody, but in my heart, I just feel like when you're constantly coming up second to people who have 10 years of experience, there's at that moment nothing else you can do. Like you can't go get 10 years of experience in a day. Like you literally, that's like a dead end. Like there's nothing to do. And so whenever that kept happening, I'm like, okay, Lord, I get it. Like there's nothing I can do. I've done it all. So what's next?
I mean, how do you respond to, because I'm sure you get it, because I've gotten it, and I know there's young people out there everywhere that get it. How do you respond to people who might say you might not know what you're doing, or negative criticism about you being a young woman and doing this? How do you, or do you even get comments like that here and there, or negative reviews, or like how do you respond to all of that?
So when people tell me I don't know what I'm doing, I just say, yeah, you're probably right. So tell me the things that I should know that you think I should know.
Yeah.
Because,
Are you ever just like, where's your storefront?
well, I'm like, okay, what knowledge do you have to give me?
Yeah.
Because the reality is nobody ever knows what they need to know. You
Sure.
never go in prepared. And if you did, you would never accomplish anything. I mean, I live by a do it scared, do it imperfect mentality, because you will never be ready for it. And you being scared and you thinking that you have to have all your ducks in a row and everything, that keeps you on the other side of what could really truly be something incredible. So I've always been like, okay, I've got this, 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 and this, and that's enough to get me started, and we'll figure out the rest along the way. And I mean, honestly, whenever I say being financially and spiritually bound to making something happen, you have no other option. You have a 3-year lease that's $1,200 a month and rent at least. So you got to figure it out. And so that doesn't take into account any of the build out that I did. Like there's just no going back at a certain point. So I'm open to all people who want to give me information, and I will take it or leave it. Like I was told by a millionaire to never open up a bakery because I have competition against Publix. And I'm like, okay, well, I came for information. You told me what you thought was valuable, and clearly I left it. But he gave me what he thought was most important. As far as the negative comments, if they're truthful, which most of the time they're not, because I feel like I do a really good job at being really great at what I do. If they're negative, I'm just like, you probably don't know all your information, and so I'll give you the facts.
Dang. So you're like, all right, so here's what you said, and it's not true.
Yeah.
So here's what is true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
So I just give them the information.
That's the nicest way of saying that of all time. I just give them information.
Yeah.
No, it's like I lay it down. I let them know that they were wrong.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to. I mean, sometimes you have to have those tough conversations. Yeah. And I mean, business, as you know, I'm sure, more than a lot of people, business isn't always sunshine and rainbows.
No.
Even though this place gives off the vibes of sunshine and rainbows. They're hard days.
I would say there's about 20% of you being on the top of the world, and then there's 80% of just grinding and trying to figure it out. But you do it because that's what you're called to do. Life was not meant to be easy. I mean, it's just not. That's not how you learn and grow. And as far as the negative comments go, I think that the internet has just made it very easy for people to just type whatever they want with no regard. I mean, you can't look at somebody and text somebody the same thing without feeling a different set of emotions.
Correct.
So
Absolutely.
So I just make sure to tell them to be kind and to come try it out if they don't think that, if they think it's too expensive, well, I would tell them, that I am in line with Crumble and with Starbucks, and you don't get the luxury space that you get here at either Crumble or Starbucks, or you also don't get the community. So those are things that you get for free here at Goodies and Grace. And so I make sure they know that.
I do think that we're living in a time of, at least maybe I didn't pay attention to it before, but I definitely think we're living in a time where people want to support local businesses, smaller businesses, because now that I know that this place exists, I'm not going to Publix for the cakes or the cookies or the cupcakes or, everything in between. Like, I'm going to, even if it's out of my way, which it is, there's a Publix right down the street, but I will gladly drive 15 minutes the opposite direction to support a friend or a local business because, when I was a kid, we didn't really, I don't want to like badmouth it, but like we didn't really support local businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my siblings were growing up, we were picky eaters. So my parents knew we liked what we liked. And, that was, Chili's or Buffalo Wild Wings or, the typical chains that everybody knows. It was never, Jim and Pam's rinky-dink bakery. It never was. It was the Starbucks. It was they knew that their picky kids would eat at these places, so they honed in on that. And I don't blame them for it. I would do the same thing, but I don't think I developed this appreciation for like local people until maybe even I started trying to go into business for myself. And I was like, wow, everyone's out here just trying to make it work. So
I think that
let's help each other.
In regards to not always shopping local, I totally get it. Like, not what I do is not necessarily something that everybody can afford. It is a lot of times a treat. It is something to look forward to. It's not an everyday. And I absolutely can respect a budget. I mean, we didn't have television whenever I was a kid. My family went through a hard time, loss of jobs, cancer, like things happen. Not everybody has the budget for it, and that's fine. I think what fires me up about it is that it's like, you're too expensive because I can't afford it. Well, that is negative in a regard to where, excuse me, it's not that it's too expensive. It's that you don't have the budget for it at the time, and that's okay. We don't always have the budget. I don't have Louis Vuitton and Cartier. Like, those are not things that I carry. I carry a bag from TJ Maxx, like that it was $30 because that's what I can afford. But it's also fake leather. It's not genuine leather that was designed by an incredible designer. So I think that just understanding that it is a treat and that we appreciate when you can support local. And especially in Cartersville with a small town, it's a different feel. Like, our downtown is primarily comprised of small business owners. And so now we have a couple chains coming in, and I'm like, ooh, this is going to change the dynamic a little bit. And it just is different. And I always wanted to be somebody who knew the names of my customers when they walked in, and who, was excited for the events that they had and created that relationship. And so I think that you get a lot of things from small businesses, not to mention that we do support the softball teams and the cheerleading and the baseball when we can. So there's a lot of things that you get from small businesses, but I totally get it's not in everybody's budget every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Joe, there comes a point in every interview that I do where I ask every guest the collection of 10 or so first date questions. They're very, very easy questions. There's a few deep ones towards the end, but most of them are just fun, and they're just more meant for people to get to know you as a person versus, the business and the brand that you've built. You ready for them?
Let's go.
We can discuss them if we need to, or we can fly through them. It's just whatever's appropriate for what your answer is.
Okay, sounds good. Let's do it.
What is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Oof. Whenever I was a kid, it was Parent Trap, but as an adult, it's Wonder Woman. Like, she's a beast.
Wonder Woman?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and there's this not cute, but there's this little clip there that just reminds me so much of what spiritual warfare is. So now we're going to get into discussion
All
here.
right, hit me.
But
Let's do it.
so whenever it's like whenever the god of war gives this message or this idea to the chemist who then creates this like massive nuclear bomb.
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, to me, knowing what I know about Christianity and spiritual warfare, it's like the devil giving you a really, really great idea, something that you could have never thought of,
Mm-hmm.
like in regards to being like intellectual, like something that like great in that regard. And so you have the opportunity as a human being to either take it or leave it. And so in that moment, it's like you see the devil giving you something and like you have to choose, okay, this is not for the good of humanity or the good of what's going on. Or I know that this is something that the devil has put into my mind to think about. And like, I feel like that is one of the best scenarios in Hollywood that shows like that's what spiritual warfare looks like.
Wow.
So that's, and on top of, she's just awesome. I'm her every year for Halloween. So
Are you?
yes.
It's about that time that I'm about to start thinking about what I'm going to. I love Halloween.
Oh yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. It's, there's back and forth in the Christian community, but I mean, whenever
Sure.
you get to hand out safe candy to kids in a safe environment where they get to be loved on by people who love Jesus, then by all means.
I'm also just a sucker for a great Halloween party. I
Yeah.
love Halloween parties. I am a little kid at heart. I love dressing up.
Yeah,
I
it's
think about
fun.
Halloween in April. I'm like, all right, so we're 9 months away from Halloween. What do I dress up
Okay,
as?
so do you and Catherine do cute couple costumes, or do y'all go solo and do like your own thing?
So last year we broke off and did our own thing, and
Okay.
she was just, I mean, she didn't know what to do because she doesn't care per
Okay.
se. So I think she dressed up as like a Little Red Riding Hood. She
Yeah.
got like a cheap, red
Yeah.
cape from Amazon or something and just called it a day.
Yeah.
Whereas I did the Joker. And
Fun. So you
for the-
painted the face, all the
she-
things.
I have to give her credit. She painted my face,
Nice.
did it amazing. It turned out fantastic.
Shout out to Catherine.
Wore the green wig. It was incredibly itchy and
yeah.
very uncomfortable, but it was a lot of fun. I'll show you pictures after we're done. But
I love it.
yeah, it was good fun. But previous years we've done like there was a year that she wore like a Scooby-Doo onesie
Yeah.
and I dressed as Shaggy.
Love it. I'm all about the
There
couple
was a year
costumes.
she was the Pizza Planet truck driver and I dressed up as Woody from Toy Story.
Cute.
Just because I was like, I'm being Woody this year. She's
Yeah.
like, well, I can't be Buzz. And I was like, sure you could. You could be
What's
Buzz.
the girl?
Lil Bo Peep. Or Jessie.
Jessie. That's who I'm thinking of. She could have been Jessie. Jessie would have been cute.
I know.
Okay, well, next
Missed
year.
opportunity.
Maybe another one. Do you know what you're doing this year?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, you got time to think
I'm
about
not
it.
shaving my beard this year. Last year, I that was the first time I shaved in like 4 years. I never
Gotcha.
shave. I trim, of course, but
Yeah.
which I need to trim right now. It's looking a little much. But I'm gonna have to do some kind of character that either I have to wear a mask or I have to be a bearded person.
Yeah.
Who
You
knows?
got it. I have faith that you'll find
Thank
something
you.
good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. So after your favorite movie, what was your first car?
A Honda Accord.
Nice.
A great car. Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Reliable.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
What was your first ever job?
First ever job. I was a hostess at Las Palmas. So
Okay.
I hosted there whenever I was a kid. I guess outside of baking.
Yeah.
Because technically that was a job. But and then I came back years later as a waitress.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
What is a tool? It could be a software. It could be a physical something. What is a tool that you use to run your business that you cannot live without?
I mean, honestly, I would say Instagram.
Yeah.
The beauty that social media can be, if used properly, is incredible. To not have to pay for marketing and to be able to see what other people create and to be able to allow people to see what I create. I mean, that, yeah. Other than that, I would say Canva. Canva's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Canva. I don't know where I would be.
Yeah, that one's a good one.
You mentioned also social media as like a free education.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you were getting at? Is just, I mean, you can learn from others. You can see what
Yes.
others are doing. You
can literally sit in a room with millionaires and entrepreneurs who you will never in your life meet. It's like reading a book, but in real time. And getting to see their emotions and their reaction and getting to see more of them that's unedited for the most part.
For the most part.
I mean, there can be a lot of editing, but like on live videos and things like that and on stages that are live streamed, like it's very cool to sit in a room with somebody you will never meet a day in your life.
That is really cool. Never thought about it like that. Do you have any allergies?
No, but I wish I could say I had an allergy to cats because I don't like them.
Really? I am allergic to cats. So as long as you If you guys follow me and Catherine around, you'll never face cats. And if you do, I am in and out because I can't. I mean, I can be around cats, but if I like touch them and then if I like scratch my face or anything, like it just starts and
I don't
it's
know. There's something about them, but I think it's because they get on countertops. I think that's what drives me nuts.
disrespectful.
Yeah,
Also, dog would never.
yeah. I could only imagine if I had a cat, I would absolutely have paw prints on my cookies at some point in time.
Yeah, that wouldn't be allowed.
Yeah,
No, not allowed. Rank these 3. Favorite to least favorite.
Okay.
Queso, guac, and salsa.
Ooh, easy. Guac, queso, salsa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a fair answer. You get to organize a music festival, okay? You get to pick the 3 headliners. This isn't about what's going to generate the most income, the most popular artists. This is just a creative way of asking, what are 3 artists that you would listen to for the rest of your life if you could listen to nobody else?
So I just went to the Brandon Lake Phil Wickham concert and they are incredible in like person. Amazing. And then I would also add in my girl Lauren Daigle. She's incredible too. So all Christian artists, but if that's the only music that I listen to the rest of my life, 100% Christian music.
Okay.
There's like a cool thing that I heard, and I'm pretty sure it's true. I haven't really fact checked it, but like music is the one thing that was created in heaven that we get here on earth.
Wow, that's
so
powerful.
Like if you want to think about what you actually listen to and how powerful it was created in heaven.
Wow, that's huge. Never even thought about that.
Yeah.
So let's picture a day, which I doubt happens very often, but let's picture a day that you don't have work. You don't have responsibilities. You don't have anything to do with this place. What does a self-care day look like for Joe?
Well, I would probably do something feminine, like get my nails done or get a facial or something, but then also something outdoors because I like to do adventurous things that I don't normally get to do. So whether that's hiking or kayaking or just doing something outdoors, exploring, or I really like to go to like festivals because I never get to enjoy those because usually I'm always at them.
Yeah.
Like as a vendor.
You're working in a booth. Yeah.
Yeah. So something along those lines and definitely sleeping in and an afternoon nap, 1000%.
Love that. Love that. An afternoon nap.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Wow, you and Catherine are going to be besties. Catherine
it.
is a teacher, so she's been coming home and taking afternoon naps.
Yeah, after having 30 kids in your face all day, I absolutely would too.
Yeah, I love a nice Sunday afternoon nap.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So, funny thing, whenever I found the guy that I'm dating or engaged to, John.
Congratulations.
Thank you. He also loves afternoon naps, and people like kind of joked early on, and they're like, "Well, get used to it because he loves to nap." And I'm like, "Oh, honey, if you only knew, I love my naps." So it's just like a little God thing that was like, "Here, I'm going to give you a man who loves to snuggle and take naps."
Yeah,
like, thank you.
There you go. That's all you can need.
Yes.
I mean, look at God, works in mysterious ways.
He does. My goodness.
What does success look like to you?
Oh, success to me in regards to a family is that people inside my home think of me better than what people outside of my home think of me. And getting to heaven and the Lord saying, "Well done, good and faithful servant," and being able to one day like see people around me that I was able to influence in a way that were like, I want a piece of what she has. And that's because the Lord put it in my life. That is 100% success. No money, no things. Those things will all be given away to somebody who doesn't care about them.
Well, facts. Drop the mic. Please don't drop it.
I won't. Take good care.
Thank you. What is a hill that you're willing to die on? Could be serious. It could be something funny that you bring up to your friends and they're like, "Joe, how can you even think that?" And you're like, "I will stand here and defend this till the day I die."
That pink glitter makes everything better. You would be surprised. But
No way.
But people do not like glitter and pink. And I'm like, no chance. You can't walk in here and not be happy.
I will say that I assume this is glitter that are on the...
Yes.
If it didn't have glitter, it wouldn't be as impactful.
Right. I mean, the glitter, it just makes everything better.
It does. I mean, it sparkles whenever way you look at it. I mean, it's just... If it was just plain pink, which still looks amazing, but I mean, it's not glittered.
Yeah. You got to be extra.
Yeah.
Sometimes I hate being extra, but at the end of the day, that's just who I am.
Hey, you got to lean into it. If that's your brand, that's your brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your biggest fear?
Oof. So biggest fear would be, which I know ultimately, like, I would get through it, but losing either my spouse or my children.
Yeah.
The people who have been through that. I was in tears listening to a story at small group on Monday from a girl who lost 3 babies, and one was 38 weeks. I mean, she delivered a whole baby, and that is just heart-wrenching. I don't know how they get through it. I mean, I know by the grace of God you get through things like that, and He gives you a peace that surpasses understanding, but on the other side of it, that is heartbreaking.
No parent should have to bury their child.
I agree.
It's
100%.
tragedy.
Yeah.
It's not something a parent is supposed to have to do.
No, not at all. I think that even losing a spouse is like in regards to women and childbirth and just the effect
Mhm.
that growing a child inside of you has on you, I think even would be more difficult than a spouse.
This is my inner man coming out here, but until a lot of our friends like started having kids and stuff, I didn't realize that childbirth was as terrifying as it can be
Oh yeah.
with the amount. And then of course, as soon as I found this out, I did all this research on statistics and how many mothers a year die in childbirth, and it's horrifying.
Yeah.
And it just freaks me the hell out, honestly.
Yeah.
And because I'm a worrier and all I do is
Yeah.
worry and think like, oh my gosh, but like what if that happened to me? What if
Yeah.
that happened to me? Not to speak it into the universe, but it's just one of those things that's like, gosh, I mean, the miracle of childbirth is a miracle,
Yes.
but surrounded by danger at the same time.
Yeah. Whenever you give birth to a healthy baby, that is some people I don't think understand how truly blessed that is to be able to experience that because so many things can go wrong. And I mean, doctors can only do so much. Like you think of going to take your car to get fixed or a normal routine oil change, but man, like men made that car. So they
Yeah.
know exactly how it operates. They know exactly where everything is and everything is identical. But God made man. And so whenever a doctor goes in there to do something like every person is different. I mean, there's a generalization, but anything can go wrong
Mhm.
and be very unexpected.
Absolutely. And then lastly, Joe, where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Oof, with some babies
Yeah.
and a family, absolutely. Some little ones. I don't anticipate having more than one more store that has a commercial kitchen attached to it. So business wise, um, this is pretty much going to be it, plus potentially one. Having some kids, family, a house, and being able to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Yeah.
I don't want anything too glorious and glamorous, but to be able to just settle down and build a family.
You're sure you sure I'm not gonna just drive down the street and it's gonna be normal house, normal house, normal house, and then giant pink house?
Okay, well, the bakery part might be very pink. I don't know. There will definitely be pink accents. I mean,
Of
there has
course.
to be.
Of course. If we walk into your home and there's no pink, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna be
would be
like
too,
I'll be
trust
like,
me.
"Missed opportunity. Missed
Yes.
opportunity here."
Yes, the one thing that I did wanna do in the shop that I didn't do is put pink velvet, but because I wanted to make it kid friendly,
Yeah.
I didn't wanna do that. So, in
Yeah.
my house where I feel like I can control things a little bit more, I do wanna have some beautiful pink velvet accents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Um, Now I'm gonna let you talk directly to the people, talk to the camera, talk to everybody, and tell them about your business, market yourself, plug all the things you want to plug, and yeah, it's yours.
Okay. Well, I do think that Goodies and Grace I don't think it is the most beautiful bakery in Georgia, and it is literally in your backyard. So I encourage you to come check it out. We have treats for everybody. We have cookies, we have decorative cookies, sugar cookies. Like we just made a really great and delicious peach crumble cookie that you have not yet to try. It's delicious though. It's got like a snickerdoodle feel to it.
Oh,
We also made a new chocolate espresso cookie that is delicious.
oh,
So we're constantly creating new things. We have a very, very large variety between cupcakes, French croissants that do have French flour that we imported.
wow.
So you get the genuine, fully authentic feel whenever you eat a croissant here. And I mean, honestly, like a pink floral Eiffel Tower might be better than the original. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just, in my opinion.
Why go overseas when you've got this right here in your backyard?
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, we love to have our community. We are open Thursday through Saturday so that we can maintain quality. and just have the best of what we are able to offer under, with 4 employees. So I definitely encourage you guys to come check it out. And we do host parties on Sunday afternoon, or we can do Monday through Wednesday as well at a little bit of a cheaper, more affordable rate. So we have pretty much everything that you could want whenever it comes to parties or anything pink.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Joe, thank you so much for sacrificing your Wednesday night to spend time with me and the people listening. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I am so, so, so excited to see where the bakery goes and to continue building our friendship and getting to hang out with you and Catherine more.
Yes.
But it's definitely a blessing to be able to share what the Lord's done.
Yes, I love it so much. It's just sitting here and listening to you talk. It's just your positivity is so infectious, and it just this entire time I've been sitting here, like it just sometimes doing these things, it just makes me speechless, and like I'm gonna get home and Catherine's gonna say, "How did it go?" And I'm gonna be like, "She's the most positive person on the planet," and it kills me because I could be so negative sometimes, but you literally are so inspiring, and I hope all the little girls out there know
Aw.
that they can do exactly what you're doing here, and I just love it, and I commend you.
Thank you. Well, I will be real and I will be honest because genuine authenticity is what matters. I'm not always super positive. There are days where the negativity gets the most of me, and then I take a nap and I'm like, okay, we'll start tomorrow.
Yep. Sometimes you just need a good nap, and it's just a reset.
Absolutely. Well, I will lastly say we have something really, really cool coming up in December. So be on the lookout in social media because we might be having a watch party.
A watch party.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
We
Got
can't
it.
share all of the news quite yet, but if you
Okay.
follow on Instagram, you'll be the first to know.
Okay. Watch party.
Yeah.
I will be there. Guys, I'm going to throw the things that she talked about in the description. I'll throw the Instagram, the website, whatever we can do to plug this beautiful bakery. It's going to be in the description of the episode. So if you're curious, if you're local to Georgia, if you're local to Cartersville, Ackworth, really anywhere, I mean, it's worth driving to just see in and of itself. But of course, you can't not get a sweet treat when you stop in. The other day, we came in and got a little goodie box for one of our friends' birthday dinners we were on our way to. And we, of course, had to get some stuff for ourselves. And people, I got whatever cookie it was that had it was just decked out in sprinkles.
The confetti.
Oh, the confetti. Yeah. God, it was so good. I took the first bite and Catherine was playing on her phone and I grabbed her arm. I was like, babe. The fact that I live 15 minutes from this place is a problem. So come by, check them out. Their stuff is truly great. And yeah, we just appreciate you doing this with us. And
thank you for having me. It was fun.
Yeah. And it was good to see everybody. Good to hear everybody. And we'll see you next time. See you later.
Bye-bye.